So we can choose the first one, and then we'll go back to our code. Sounds, we can be able to play this one. Play dog sound. So to trigger the event when the green flag is clicked, we can also bring this one. Thank you for joining us. In today's session, we'd like to learn how to create a sprite. We launch the Scratch application. Generally, we normally have the existing sprites. We have different categories. All. You can see the bear walking, beetle. We can go to people, Abby, Emon, Andy. We also have a fantasy, fairy, Frank, dance, all the way to the letters. But instead of using these existing sprites, we can create our own. So we'll delete this. How do we create a sprite? Looking at the option we have here, we can choose an existing sprite. Alternatively, point to choose a sprite, but instead of selecting from existing list, we'll go to paint, and you can be able to see our costume. We have the different tools we can use for drawing and creating our sprite. Here we have a reshape tool. Then we also have the eraser, text, a circle. We also have a shape, rectangle, a line, fill, and a paint brush. Then here we also have an option to choose our color and also specify the outline color. At the moment, these options group and group, forward, backward, front, back are inactive because we are yet to draw the sprite. Let's specify our color. We can choose 100. We can also choose 100 saturation and probably 67 for. We can also do the same. For the outline. 67, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so next thing is to draw a sprite. We can use the circle shape. We can draw the body. Okay, we can always edit. Then using the same shape, we can draw the head. Assuming this is how it looks like. To change the order or position, we can always use the front or back to move the shapes to be at the back or in front of the existing shape, so you can still rearrange this. But since they have the same color, they're just touching each other, we can leave it as it is. We also have this reshape tool. The reshape tool allows us to resize and change the shape of our sprite. Clicking on reshape, it has existing outlines, but you can still add other points. For example, we'll add a point there and we'll drag it downwards. We'll also add another point here, drag it downwards. We can add additional points here, assuming we like to introduce the tail. So we'll move it a little forward. Then for our tail, the other points so to be able to cover our tail. Okay, so this is assuming this is our puppy. Can slightly add a pointer here so that let's stretch it a little forward and then have on the head we can zoom in a little, add other pointers for the ears, and also probably introduce the eyes, but this we change the saturation a little. We draw the eyes here. Yeah, so this is our puppy. Reshape, select the head. Zooming our puppy. Puppy. So first, is our puppy. This one costume. So if you wish to have different posture, we duplicate the puppy, but this time now we change the position so that it appears like it's jumping. So we click on this, but this time pull, move the legs. Probably in this direction. Use a erasing tool to erase part of this. Again, reshape tool. So if you observe these two movements, for this one you can also change the tail. Instead of facing backwards, you can change it to so for this one you can also change the tail to face upwards. So basically we can innovate. This is our puppy, the first position, the first posture, and the second posture. First posture, second posture. The next thing now is the ability to code. How do we now show that these two costumes can show some movement? So how do we make sure our sprite moves? So this is our sprite. How do we make sure that our sprite moves? We can use the control block. For this case, we can use control blocks. So these are two costumes. To animate, we'll go to the code tab, choose a block. You can consider forever block. Then go to the motion category, identify a motion, positive 10 steps. And then we can also give it a direction. For example, now when you do this, the sprite moves beyond the boundary. To make sure it doesn't, we have the option if on edge bounce. So we can bring this here. You've noticed the change of direction. It's facing upwards and downwards. To prevent that, I will still go back to motion block and then limit our movement to left and right. So we can bring it here. So it's only left and right. The other thing we'll notice is that our sprite is too big. So we can change the size. Let's say instead of 100, let's have it as 30. It's too small. We can change it to 50, slightly larger. Okay. So you're able to see only one costume. To be able to show some movement by switching to the next costume, we'll go to looks category, and the option we have here is next costume. You bring in next costume, so it appears like it's moving from one end to the next. We can reduce the number of steps to 5. To slow down, we can go to events, introduce a slight delay before change of costume. 1 second is too long, so we can reduce it to 0.5. What happens? We can reduce it further to 0.3. increase the number of steps to 10. Okay, so that's it. Moving our sprite downwards. The next thing we can do is introduce a background. Our puppy can be on the field. So here, let's say on the playing field. And to make it more interesting, we can also introduce a backing sound. Okay, so we can go to sounds category. There's this option where we can be able to choose the sound. So we click on sounds and then search dog sound. So we can pick. This appears to be a puppy sound. So we can choose the first one. And then when we go back to our code, sounds, we can be able to play this one. Play dog sound. So to trigger the event when the green flag is clicked, we can also bring this one. Okay. Thank you so much for joining us. We've been able to see how to create a sprite. We've also been able to see how to animate a sprite. We'll continue to explore additional features in the next session. To save our work, as usual, you go to File tab, save to the computer, and we can have this as dog as dog backing. Save.